The first thing you're going to do in order to do the texture tutorials is to create a new document. You're going to choose letter 8.5 by 11, click create. The second thing you're going to do is go to the swatches panel. You're going to go to the lines over on the top right hand corner, and you're going to click open swatch library. You're going to go to patterns and basic graphics and basic graphic textures. This is going to open a few different textures that you can use for this next part. It's up to you which one you want to use. If you can't really tell what you're seeing here, you can click and drag it. And if it's something that you want to leave, go ahead and leave it. If it's something that you don't want to use for this, you can just click backspace and it'll disappear, and you can try a different one. So say I want to use this. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and zoom in on my artboard, so Control plus, just so I can get a really good sense of what this texture looks like. And just in case, I'm going to go ahead and drag this texture over to my swatches panel so I have it. I don't know if I need to use it for anything else. The next thing that I'm going to do is kind of look at what's happening on my pattern. So it looks like this might mostly just have a stroke on it as opposed to a fill. I'm going to go ahead and go to my layers panel, which might be over here, or I've moved mine over here. And you're going to click this arrow to expand the layer, so I can see that there's a grouped element here, and I'm going to lock this bottom layer. And now what I'm going to do is change the stroke color. So I'm going to make sure that my stroke color is on top, and I'm going to go ahead and put a gray stroke on it. And it looks like that converted everything, so that'll work for our purposes. The next thing I'm going to do is unlock this back layer now that I've changed the colors, and I'm going to go ahead and making sure that everything is selected. Okay, so I want it to appear blue in this case, and I'm going to drag this whole thing back up to my swatches panel. So this first one would be the black one, and the second one is the gray. I'm going to go ahead and get all of this back up. I'm going to go ahead and make another layer, but put it underneath of the pattern that I already have. I'm going to create a rectangle underneath my pattern, and I can make it a little bit bigger if I want to. And I put that on the wrong layer. So I'm actually going to click on layer 2, right click on this, and arrange send to current layer. So now I've got my white rectangle, and I'm going to change the color in this rectangle to, I guess, purple. So I'll flip-flop that. So I've got a purple rectangle with gray pattern over top. If I want to see kind of how this fits together, I can also Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and move this pattern over to kind of get it to fit in there so it starts to look like it's a continuation, and kind of fiddle with it a little bit to get it to look better. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the purple layer, and I'm going to select by holding shift both of these patterns. I'm going to go over to my transparency panel, and here I'm going to start playing with the blending modes. So darken obviously makes it a bit darker. I kind of like what that did. Oh, I unclicked it so you guys could see it. So I'm going to re-click it again. I can try multiply. I can try color burn, you can see obviously that something is happening to it, even if you can't tell exactly what's happening. Lighten makes it lighter. Screen also does something to make it lighter. Color dodge, so it changes the color of it. So you can play around with whatever color you used, what happens as it interacts with whatever background you chose to do. You can also adjust the opacity of this. So let's say I've made this sort of white as opposed to the gray that was before. So let's actually switch it to darken because I kind of liked what that was doing. And then I can also change the opacity a little bit. So maybe it blends in a bit more with the background. So it's more of a texture that could be behind something and not as stealing the show from whatever else you have on the page.